You just made a great intro for this video. That's awesome. Well, we're here. We're going to do it. We're going to talk.
Nice. Welcome to episode
number three. Number three. Yeah, I didn't realize that you were waiting on me. Then the awkward silence hit me.
When someone says episode number.
Well, you didn't do the finger gun to me. If you'd have done the finger gun, I would have known.
Well, that's your problem.
Obviously. So yeah, we are episode number 3. Hopefully this episode you will stay close to the mic so our viewers and listeners can hear you.
I know I'm not the only one that has a problem sitting still.
Okay. At least I try to stay close to the microphone.
Yeah, but if I can't do this, like that, my life is like ruined.
Take the mic with you. Every time you go back, just pull just back and forth. You know. This is all for the viewers. You're going to have to sacrifice. I don't know what to tell you.
That is true. So.
Wait. Shut up. I need you to shut up. We need to address something first. I apologize if I hurt your feelings.
I was about to address something.
Okay. Well, I don't care. So, in the previous 2 episodes, we reference episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're calling episode 1 4 in that episode, and we're calling episode 2 episode 5, because in reality we had filmed 4 and 5 episodes at those points. Those episodes 1, 2, and 3 were really not good enough to air. There was some quality issues on video, quality issues on sound, quality issues on Jeff's performance. It is what it is. It was disgraceful. We may eventually try to edit those down and get them out to you guys, but here going forward, the episodes you heard were 1 and 2. So we won't reference any more wrong stuff unless Jeff does, and that's his fault. So with that, episode 3. Go ahead, Jeff.
So
you got the floor.
Now, I would like to address something. We were talking about certain people in the reseller community, and there's like a lot of drama and stuff going on right now. No, I'm not going to mention anybody, but it just it stands to show that, you know, if you decide to have any type of internet presence at all, like, you got to be who you are. You can't be fake, because if you're fake, you will get found out. There's some geniuses out there that know how to,
Yeah. They were pulling stuff up from way before these people were internet presidents.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just going back 3 years, and you gotta realize that, also all their followers. You have some diehard followers that are gonna pull up stuff, to feed the fire. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy.
You're right. I mean, people, and it seems like resellers too are not all, but. And I don't want to get us in trouble. We don't even anybody yet. But there's a lot of drama queens out there. And I don't mean drama queen in the sense that they're all women. But, there's a bunch of people that really seem unhappy and want to propagate this stuff and just keep going and going and going with it, when if we all just minded our business and grinded every day like we should, nobody would, Nobody be.
Yeah, there's just a couple that aren't. There's some that are very opinionated on social issues, and there's some that are just, they stick to the business. And the second it gets into social issues, was it in our first episode? We did that little experiment on Facebook. I think it was the first or second episode.
Yeah,
I posted, I love selling Trump ties. And
As
then
an
we timed it.
experiment.
Yeah, and then we timed it to see how far that conversation would go, and it ended up. I mean, gosh, people were getting called Nazis. They were talking about the Native Americans. Like,
It devolved into some weird places that I didn't see. We both knew that it was going to be controversial.
yeah,
I
oh, for
mean,
sure, for sure.
it was a social experiment by definition. So, but
But it was interesting. And then I deleted it after about 20 minutes. But it was interesting, and um, even there's a lot of sports. I haven't been to sports or not, but man, there's so many people that are getting called out on what they tweet when they're 17, like, and they're dumb in high school and they tweet some stupid stuff, and they're like, 20 something now,
yeah,
and they're in the big leagues and they're getting called out. So I don't know. We
I know
probably
we've
should put
talked
that.
about this before as far as
Yeah, yeah,
what you thought on that, and it's kind of it's a hard one because one, you're young and dumb, you're gonna make mistakes, but two, this is the state of the world we're living in, so it's like it's not like you didn't know. Well, I mean, people right now, um 5-10 years ago probably didn't know, but from here going out, like, kids should
yeah.
know that everything's recorded, everything's multiple places on the internet, whether you want it to be or not.
Yeah, it's gonna be out there regardless. Dude. I mean, it just is, and it's crazy. It's kind of sad because I mean, I know me and you. You said we've been friends for like 18 years. That's way too long.
I
But
agree.
like,
We should. I have been advocating we cut that shit off for a long
it's been
time.
way too long. But I remember when we were in high school, we talked way differently than we do now
hmm
because I mean, I don't know, we're just stupid,
Yeah,
and but luckily for us, Twitter and Facebook weren't around, and we don't
well,
have to worry
cell
about
phone
anybody.
cameras weren't a thing. They.
Yeah.
I don't even know if cell phones had cameras when we were in high school. I think they were just about to come out with cameras.
Yeah,
They may
they
have
weren't.
had cameras, but they weren't.
I think the one that
Shit.
had the camera was like the Razor. I think the Razor came out like
Yeah.
it was like the first phone or something.
You know what my
But
first phone was?
um,
It was a
what's that?
Sony Ericsson. It looked like that Nokia that nobody can break, that
Yep.
I don't know what the number is, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember your Sony Ericsson. I do remember.
Well, I had
Um,
another one too.
yeah, actually, the Motorola Razor came out in 2004, so that wasn't really that was not while we were in high school.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had a Nokia. It had
We
no
both
camera, so
graduated in
yeah,
2002, by the way.
yeah.
I don't know if that
Sorry, that
matters. But
get off topic.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, there's no cell phone cameras. So we got lucky. But these people aren't though that are in their 20s now. It's like it's everywhere, and that shit does not go away. You can deactivate your Facebook. Somebody's got you somewhere, but
Yeah, and it kind of is a paradox because like you're young and you normally would make mistakes, right? Like, but it's almost like you can't even make mistakes now.
that's the worst part. That's what I hate about it. It's because there's people are so just
Unforgiving when it
just
happens
so
for
they're so unforgiving and judgy because you can sit behind a computer and you can judge and judge and judge, and there's no like, and you can choose whether or not to have like a conversation about it. So if you say something like, if you wear a Confederate shirt, right, and you're sitting at your desk and you do a live show or whatever, and I say, hey, that's racist and that offends me. Like, I can say whatever I want,
yeah.
and it doesn't even have to be a two-way argument. It can just be I'm just going to spew all of my my opinions at you, and there's really not a whole lot of rebuttal. And then with the way social media is, people just start piling on. It gets just out of control, and it's really sad because people do like there's some really good people that make mistakes. Like, I mean, if like I said, back when we were in high school, some of the stuff, some of
Some of the
our
things that you did. Please don't group me into the bad things that you made me, like things that you made me do.
yeah,
Like,
no, I hear you. I hear
I,
you.
huh.
You did it. You did
I'm
it.
gonna tell. I'm
But
gonna tell your mom the true story
yeah.
next time I see
Yeah, we
her.
should tell that. Yeah, speaking of stories, but
No,
anyways,
we're not telling. No, we're
um,
not.
yeah, I'm sure you're not so innocent.
One day, Yeah,
You are
no.
not so innocent, are you?
Yeah, yeah.
But so
Anyway,
yeah,
let's get this thing started.
I agree.
I think we're 34 minutes in, so I think that's usually the time that we actually start putting out content.
We are not that far in.
Um, eBay restrictions. I'm gonna let you have this one. I'm gonna sit back and listen.
Yeah. So when I first started, I remember um, I got. And if you listen to episode 2 or our last episode, you'd kind of get an idea what I'm talking about. But I know when you got started with your um, eBay Amazon business, I got started. You know, after I lost my job, um,
Yeah, we
and
started what about a month apart, maybe?
it's been about a year.
No, I mean from each other
Oh, yeah, yeah. Um,
in
and
July.
so the only thing I had was tons of. I had a lot of gun parts that I could sell, and I remember I was sitting at my island while you were
Yeah,
here, and
yeah,
I was
in the
taking
kitchen
pictures.
there.
I was taking pictures of magazines, like gun. I had a bunch of gun magazines. So I'm
You had a
taking
desk
pictures.
lamp. You were
Yeah, I
using a
had,
desk lamp.
I had a
It was a
little.
nice little ot light, or
Yeah, I have
however
it.
you say that.
It's
But
around here. It's around here somewhere. Um, yeah, white sheet of paper and an ot light, and I was taking pictures. And I remember I was posting these magazines on eBay, and I kept getting these like rejections. Like rejections is like, and I'm like, what the hell? And so I finally, I'm
and you'd
not.
never listed anything like this. Your
No, no,
only
no, no.
experience was like sports memorabilia and like the LED kits that you were making.
Yeah, and I'm not get I I'm not good at like reading things. So like when I get
There was a
emails,
pause there. I may
when
have
I
to edit that.
when
I'm
I
not
get
good at
when I
reading.
get emails, and I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like just
No,
gonna
no.
browse.
There's so many emails that come through.
Yeah.
I understand.
So I actually looked at this one, and it said, this listing was removed. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I look at it, and come to find out, you can't list magazines that hold more than 10 rounds because they aren't legal in all states. And so I had unknowingly at the time racked up 2 violations. So I figured out what the problem was, and I sold all my high capacity magazines to a pawn shop. But I started listing these parts, and I got my first suspension was for 3 days, because I listed a hand guard for an AR-15. So my first lesson I learned was you can't sell a magazine that carries more than 10 rounds. My second lesson that I learned was that you can't sell anything that has anything to do with AR-15s.
I
Now,
didn't know that.
yeah, now here's the interesting kind of you can kind of what I'm looking for the word. You can kind of skirt the rules on this. So, for instance, I sold a forearm, a Magpul forearm, and I put AR-15 in my title.
I don't think we should advocate
No, 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 no,
that.
no. This, well, I'm getting to the point here. So, and the reason why I felt comfortable listing this is because I saw tons and tons of other listings,
I got you. I got you.
and so I said, okay, well, I should be able to sell it, no problem. So I put it on eBay, and of course, it gets pulled off. I get a 3-day suspension, and I'm like, I
That was
call
strike
eBay.
three, right?
Yeah, that was strike 3. That was a 3-day suspension, and
Within like a month of you selling,
yeah, yeah,
right? A month of you
yeah.
selling.
So then I found out you can't sell AR parts, but so I called eBay and I said, hey, well, what's going on? Look at all these other listings. Like I gave them item numbers, and then as I'm on the phone talking to the representative, I start looking. I was like, these guys don't mention anything about modern sporting rifles. They don't mention anything about AR-15s. And these parts, could possibly be interchangeable. You could use them maybe for a custom build, something. I
Yeah.
don't know, but but that was my second lesson that I learned. So I'm like, okay, now it kind of started getting serious because I had a 3-day suspension where I couldn't do anything. I could still sell things, but I couldn't make any revisions, couldn't list, couldn't do anything. So I kept
Locked you
going.
down.
Yeah. So pop back up, and I started rolling again. I started listing these parts, and I mean, I'm really talking. There's over 1,000 parts, right? So I'm listing all these parts, and I get popped again. This time it was a week-long suspension. And I don't remember I don't remember what this 7-day suspension was for. I can't remember. But it was another gun part that wasn't allowed to be sold. And, so I said, I did my week, I said, well, I guess, and I remember I told you, I said, well, time to learn Amazon.
Yeah.
So, I'm sitting there and I take that week trying to learn Amazon, and I get unrestricted and I start listing again, and I'm like, I'm okay. This time I'm gonna be super careful, right? And I didn't know that the next step was a
So you had
month.
how many
This
suspensions
was
at this
four.
point?
It did
Full.
two, two,
Okay.
two, four
3.
violations, four violations,
Okay.
two warnings, a 3-day, and a week.
Within how long of a time period?
Probably a month. Probably a month. So,
You
so I
shouldn't
was
even be
really,
allowed to sell on eBay.
no,
Still
I know.
now.
It got close. It got close to that. It got close to that situation. And so I didn't know the next step was a month. And
Yeah.
that's how it goes. It goes warning, warning, 3 day, 7 day, 30 days, and then death penalty, you're done. Um
So there is a finite amount.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I think it's like the fifth, after the 30-day, you're done. Um, so I kept going. And so I listed these two parts that were unrelated to anything that has anything to do with modern sporting rifles, AR-15s, nothing. Has nothing
Yeah.
to do with it. It was for a shotgun. And that says,
Which is completely legal, right?
oh yeah, yeah, 100% legal. And so this was
Well, no, no, no.
October.
Excuse me. I need to rephrase that because none of the parts that you were selling were illegal. They were against eBay policy
Correct. That's
to
correct.
list them. Sorry.
And that's because if a buyer in California purchased these, it would be illegal in their state.
Okay.
Um, the AR-15 is more of a just we don't want anything to do with that gun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, um, so I list this was October 15th, I think, 15th, 16th, 17th, somewhere around there. And so I get popped for 30 days. I read the email, my heart just drops. I'm like, oh my god, what? And this is like I'm leading up to Q4, right? This is like prime selling time. And then luckily I knew I was going to be back before Black Friday, Cyber Monday and all that, and I was going to be okay during December. But there's no way I could have been out of commission for 30 days. I just couldn't do it. I wasn't, I had to call him, right? So I'm very upset, right? Because I'm selling these little,
How
it's a
much?
little,
Let me interrupt here, like I normally do. Up to this point, how much do you think you were selling a month on eBay? So, I mean, I don't want viewers to get the wrong impression. Like this guy was just freaking out. Why is he freaking out? Like you weren't just putting down little numbers, right? At the
yeah,
time,
I mean,
if you're okay with saying that, but I just don't
it
want.
was,
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, it was about 10,000 a month. And this was in September and October.
Which is
And
like
so,
3 months after you started.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
That's
started. I started in
insane.
August. Started in August. So 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 I've got this 30-day suspension, and I sold it was a little charging handle for a shotgun, a Browning shotgun, um, and then another item that was a sear. Um, but unfortunately, just kind of like the word Navy can mean a color or like a branch of the military, a sear can mean two different things too when it comes to guns. Um, and then a charging handle for shotgun. So anyways, I call them, and I get folks from Thailand and or
The
Philippines or
Philippines.
wherever, India, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating because they don't know what an AR-15. I mean, they may know what an AR-15 is. They know their rules say that there's no any type of like exceptions or anything.
Yeah.
So if they misinterpret a listing, then it's a situation to where there's just nothing they can do,
And I
and their hands
imagine
are tied.
for eBay, a gun part listing is probably the top of the list for things to be able to get in trouble for. Or like that's probably the harshest penalty. They may lose their
Yeah,
job.
yeah, it really
You
is.
know.
And so the frustrating part was for me was I'm talking to these people and I'm like, look, I'm like, I even took them through a Google search to try to educate them.
Yeah.
Like I'm on
Yeah.
the phone and
I
I said,
remember you telling
hey,
me that. Yeah.
type this in Google and tell me what you see. And I said, do you see the shotgun? And it got to the point where they defined an assault rifle as anything that can harm an animal or a human.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was their thinking as to what an assault rifle was.
Yeah.
So and if you know anything about guns, and I mean you really
That's
don't have
not
to
the
know that
case.
much about
It's
it. It's just not the case at all.
yeah.
An assault rifle is a
They
semi-automatic.
basically said an assault rifle is a knife, an assault rifle is a baseball bat, assault
Yeah,
rifle is anything that you can, a clothes hanger if you or hit
yeah,
somebody with it, or something.
and so at that point, I said, look, I understand that you may not know what I'm talking about. Like that's totally acceptable. I understand that. I said, but I need you to get me to somebody who does understand.
Yeah,
And and the frustrating part was that it was back office people that made the decisions on these specific issues, and there was no way to contact these people at all. Like
what do you mean? These are the people that make the
so
decisions. How?
so so he said that you can appeal the violation, and they have a back office team that reviews these type violations and then makes the determination of whether they are a violation or they're not. And I said, well, look, is this team an American team or is it a foreign team?
Yeah,
Couldn't get an answer on that. There was no way to contact them. They would not transfer me to anybody in the U.S. They said you have to get lucky to get somebody in the U.S. And that it was completely random. And so it was so frustrating. I mean, I did everything I could possibly do to get this suspension removed. And if you do any looking on eBay forums and things of that nature, it's extremely rare that they reverse these.
yeah.
And in my case, they didn't reverse it. They didn't reverse it. No matter how hard I tried to get them to understand where I was coming from, it didn't work out.
So you went
So
a whole 30 days without being able to edit, to
yeah,
revise, to change price, anything
yeah,
except
I could sell.
ship an item
I could ship and
that
sell.
sold.
That's it. That's it. So of course, my sales are tailing off, but I did start getting into Amazon, a lot during that break. But the thing about the restriction is, now, and I asked him, I said, well, look, what happens if y'all make a mistake again?
Yeah,
And he says, well, it's permanent closure of your account.
seriously.
It's, I mean, it's like, gosh, it's like this is my livelihood.
Who did you
Uh,
ask that to? Did you ask that to somebody
The
at
people
eBay
on the phone.
Open
Yeah.
or?
No, no, no. This
Oh,
was
okay,
during
okay,
my.
okay.
This was during this whole
Gotcha,
fiasco.
gotcha.
And I said, okay. And so I talked to my wife, and I said, okay, we're done with gun parts until after Q4. Like we're just not going to touch it. So we completely just got rid of. We didn't get rid of it, but we put it on the back burner. We sold what we had, and then we got into toys, and I think November, December we hit 18,000 in sales, and mainly toys. A lot of it was toys
On eBay.
on eBay. Yeah, that's just eBay.
Yeah.
Um, so it worked out for me, but you know I had to be so cautious after that, to make sure that I didn't get another suspension because I just couldn't afford not having an eBay account. I mean, and so what I did and what I suggest that you do, um, is
I'm not going to do it. If it's not
that's
my
fine.
idea, I don't do it.
It's totally okay. You actually might like it, but I think you're already following. But on Facebook, follow eBay for Business. Um,
Yeah, we talked about that in the last.
yeah, and they are, um, they're U.S. based, and I remember I was watching one of their film their pod or videos or live videos or
Spit
whatever,
it out, man. We don't have all night.
and um and so I messaged the lady and I said, hey, I got suspended for this, blah, blah, blah. This is what happened. This is, I need somebody in the US to understand and interpret these things. I said, I'm past my suspension, but I don't want to get to the point where I have another mix up and then I'm just done completely. So she did. And she actually got both of the two that got me suspended for the 30 days. She got those violations removed from my account.
What?
Yeah,
Seriously, I don't think you ever told me that.
I didn't.
That no, I don't think
I thought
so.
I thought I did.
I
Anyways,
mean, you
but
may
yeah,
have. I don't
but yeah.
have a
So
good memory.
she was able to remove those violations so that I had some like breathing room
Wow.
that
Yeah. Well, I
if I
mean,
messed up
it's not
again.
like you even were owed. Well, yeah, the last one. It's not like you were owed the
Yeah,
last one.
yeah. And so one of the things that I had issues with was with the suspension was just kind of like that lack of sales, and it just dipped, and so um I like that business page. It's definitely a huge, um, it's definitely a huge asset.
Okay. Go out and like the eBay for Business Facebook page.
Yeah, eBay for business.
Okay. Um, I think we already kind of hit on it. Uh, we just want to tell our listeners, early on, episode 3, man, we're newbies. We don't claim to know everything. We don't claim to be, $1 million sellers or anything like that. Hopefully one day. But we're just growing, we're just learning, and we're on this journey, and we just kind of want to share that journey with you. And we both like to talk, and it's funny because we both used to, listen to the Joe Rogan Experience, which is an amazing podcast. If you don't already listen to podcasts, or if you do, there's another option for you. And we joked about one day having a podcast, just because, and even our wives have joked, it needs to be a television show or something about you guys, because we have a weird relationship that not a lot of people have. Like, we're real good friends. We are extremely sarcastic, like to the point to where we can go out in a store and we will confuse a cashier. We just or somebody that's just listening to us is like, why are those people even hanging around each other? They hate each other. And I do.
Would.
And I do. I do hate you.
Probably would think, yeah, some of the stuff we do. You probably think that we did hate each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely not experts in really anything yet. But we're on that. We're on our way.
Yeah, and if people have said this before, if somebody says they're a guru and they claim to be an expert, maybe skip that person over, because that person is most of the time an expert, or just like an intelligent person is not going to tell you they're intelligent. Be a little weary. But we are experts, and we are selling a webinar. It's tomorrow night at 7:30. It's gonna be
live on YouTube.
It's gonna be 35 seconds long, and it's gonna be $2,329. Cash or check only. We do take money orders. So if you're in for it, you can come. Have a Q&A with the experts, the gurus. We won't actually have a Q&A. That's just a marketing tactic. I'm just, trying to overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah, there's so many people that have their own courses and stuff. And it's a good way to make money.
It's tempting. It is. I mean, we really, have built up enough knowledge to teach a beginner course. I mean,
Yeah, you could, but I wouldn't feel right if, like, I see some of these people that sell these beginner guides and things like that, and look, whatever you want to do to make money, it doesn't matter to me. But I see tons and tons of people that are just brand new, and they don't, they have to take that first step through and go through the YouTube, program, and because there's so much free information out of there.
No, they should do that.
They should. Yeah, they should.
A lot of people get caught up because Amazon is like, I don't know, it's like driving through rush hour traffic with a blindfold on. You're just hitting walls the first couple miles. It's and you're confused and you don't know what to do, and if you just hear the buzz about FBA, at FBA, you will worry yourself to death if you're actually thinking about getting into that.
Yeah,
and you will turn to anybody. Hey, do you have any advice? Do you have any advice? And people see in like some of those groups, they'll be like, hey, what's a good product to sell? Oh, people are sharks, man. People jump on that person.
That's exactly right.
Oh.
And if you were in any of these groups, and especially some of the big ones, like it's almost without fail that person that says, I'm struggling with this, or what's a good product, like you said, what's a good product to sell? At some point in that string, you'll see somebody post their sales numbers, and they won't.
Yep.
Most time they won't come out and say, "Hey, I'm selling a course," but it's bait for these people to message them. And as soon as they message them, they think they can just take, they can skip all the newbie stuff and get right into the intermediate, and that's really just not possible. I mean, I got so frustrated with Amazon when I first started because it's like pop up, hey, you got to follow these rules. Pop up, you got to follow these rules, and it was like, oh my god, I don't like following rules.
Yeah.
It's,
You don't. You son of a bitch.
I hate rules. So it was it's tough, but man, the advanced classes like that talk about private labeling can be, to me, private labeling is very confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhat.
Neither one of us have done private labeling.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
both dabbled in wholesale and both done RA and OA, but neither one of us have dove off into the private label lake yet.
Right, and I could see a kind of intro to PL, like what PL is, a private label product that you can buy in China, throw your brand on it, and throw it on Amazon. But
It doesn't
the
have to
tough,
be. See, that's a misnomer too. It doesn't have to be a Chinese product. You can white label or private label a U.S. based product too, which is actually, I've heard, is even better in some cases because you don't have to spend shipping and you don't have to wait 3 months to get your product and.
yeah, that's
all
true.
that, but
That is true. But yeah, I mean, I can see the use for that. But just
I want to let you
very
guys
wary.
know we're selling a private label webinar tomorrow night at 8:30. We've actually got a 30-minute window between classes, so if you guys want to send us some questions, go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I know what I
$5,000.
got. 3 easy payments of $5,000.
Oh, sorry, did I not say that? We'll edit that
Yeah,
out. Three
there's
easy
three.
payments.
It's a $15,000 course.
Yeah, it's a 7-day payment terms, so
I just tried
get
to
that
do
15,000.
3 with my finger. Do you do that? Does your hand do this?
No,
When you try to do
I
3?
think your hand is messed up.
Is my hand like, seriously, try it.
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. That's
Yeah,
weird. All
yeah.
right. That must be me.
I
My
think
hands
you
are
need to
hard.
go see a doctor. Okay. Next on the list. Let's talk about Amazon being on a listing. Yeah. Now this can happen a couple ways. One can be you just don't know and you buy a hot product, and you send it into Amazon, and then a week goes by and 2 weeks goes by. After that product has actually gotten into inventory and it's available, and you don't see any sales, and you're like, man, I had the buy box. I got buy box price when I got in there. And then you go and you investigate and you look and you see Amazon's on the listing. And then, a little bell goes off and you go, crap, how can I compete with Amazon? I know what I'll do. I'll drop my price a penny from their price. And then Amazon drops their price right below yours. And then you're like, okay, I know what to do. I'm going to drop my price 50 cents. And then the next time you look, Amazon has dropped their price $3. And you're like, what? How? There's no money in that. How can they be making any money?
Yeah.
Well, whether they're making any money or not, they got the buy box, and you're not going to be able to match it. So the moral of this story is try not to ever get on a listing with Amazon. But if you do, we'll give you a way to actually kind of see if it's worth it. So Jeff talked about Keepa before in one of the previous episodes. I think it's one of the ones we've released. And Keepa shows, it's a chart, and it shows a bunch of, dips. It kind of looks like an EKG, with the they do your heart with.
Like heart rate monitor type thing.
So every downstroke of that EKG, if you will, is supposedly is a sale. It correlates with sales rank. So that is the sales rank dropping. So it also shows several things. It shows some things that I don't even know how to use yet, but it also shows Amazon. And it shows what their price is, and it shows it in orange. And if you see any gaps, it'll usually be more of a straight line, because it's just showing price, and it just shows up and down on price. So it'll go up and down sometimes when Amazon raises their price or lowers it. but there will be gaps in there, and those gaps uh, actually correlate with a day or days below it in the graph, and it actually shows you how many days Amazon was out of stock on that product. If you can get on a listing with where Amazon is going out of stock quite frequently, that's probably a good listing to get on. It tells you a couple different things. Supply for that product is probably not as plentiful as Amazon would like, which means it's probably a good product, and it's going in. They're going in and out of stock so quickly, means they're selling through their inventory everything they've got. So if you get on that listing, there's a good chance, if there's not a whole bunch of FBA sellers on it, you may sell your stuff quick. You know, but that's the only time I would suggest getting on a listing with Amazon. Otherwise, avoid that shit like the plague.
Yeah, one of the things I can show kind of what he's talking about, with your keep graphs, these, the orange
What do
is
you
going to
have
go.
there? Now, that doesn't look like my Amazon page. I don't have a graph in the middle of my page. How did you get that there?
That would be the Keepa extension for Chrome,
Okay.
uh, which
Okay.
if you do not have that, you need it, because every time you look at an item, it's easy for you to kind of do a quick glance at if it's going to be a good item or not. Shows you the sales rank, but when he was talking about the Amazon going out of stock, is you can see all the orange here is Amazon in stock, the white is them going out of stock. So you can see them, in this area right here, they're in stock for maybe one item at a time,
Yeah.
and then they go out of stock. Whereas from July 5th or so to August 8th, that entire month they were in stock. So it's kind of in and out, in and out. So if Amazon's price is down here and your price is up here, you have to wait for these gaps for you to get any sales.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Keep is the best tool there is, I think. I mean,
It's it's
if
it's
you're not checking it for
indispensable.
yeah, if you're not checking it for every single item, you're not doing everything you need to do.
It is free.
Yeah, it's free.
I mean, if you, why would you not use it? Eh. But anyway, the next thing we got on the list here, man. I think you wanted to talk about prepping your hot eBay toys for Q4, prepping your
Yeah,
listings.
yeah. So one of the things um, that are extremely important is getting on some of the hot toy items early before you get into November, December, when you have thousands and thousands of other people selling the same item. So prepping your listings, not your items, but your listings, to get ready for Q4. So um, let's say, for instance, there's a new toy out, like a Furby. Okay, Furby comes out, and you think that that's going to be one of the hot toys, and nobody's really going to know until about maybe November-ish, late October, November, before we really know what the hot toy is going to be. But let's say Furby comes out, and you think it's going to be a hot item. You need to get sales on your listing as soon as possible, and because the amount of sales you have on your item is going to dictate where your listing shows up in customer searches. So, for instance, if there's 500 Furbies on eBay and you've sold 10 of them, and these others are just single item listings, when they search Furbies, you're going to be at the top of the list because you've had consistent sales in your history, and it's just been you've shown that consistency. So eBay's algorithm will automatically put that item towards the top of the search. Me and you saw that earlier this year, when we actually traded off selling the same item.
Yeah.
We had one item where I started selling, and I was top listing. You typed in this search, I was at the top of the listing, and we sold probably like 30 of them.
Hmm.
Well, I went out of stock. You had some, and it took you kind of a while to get going.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, what the heck's going on? You do the searches, you do all this other stuff, but my listing was consistently on top because I had consistent sales. So
Yeah.
when I stopped selling, you started getting sales, and then you started, being at the top listing, I got back in stock and I couldn't sell them to save my life
Yeah.
because I hadn't had that consistent sales. And why would they buy from me when you have the same price and your listing is a better has a better search result?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing this year is I've got, roughly 10 different toys that I'm kind of placing my bets on for Q4. And what I'm doing is I'm making money, and not a lot, but I'm getting sales on these items to gradually, as I get into late October, early November, when customers search for these things, they're going to see my listing at the top and it's going to say 10 sold or 11 sold or 25 sold. And what that does is it gives customers, confidence that, okay, if I buy from him, I'm probably going to be in good shape. I'm not going to get some like, you know,
That's a
Joe Smith.
good point. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah,
That's a really good point.
I'm not going to get Joe Smith that just stole a Furby and is trying to make some money off of it, right?
Especially
Or
if you hear that there's counterfeits and stuff going around.
right, and they're usually,
Fingerlings.
yep, there usually is. So so one of the other cool things is that your customers is being able to show, hey, I've sold 500 of these. Being able to show that, the customer can actually go into that listing and look at the feedback left on those sales, and they can get an idea of, okay, are these good transactions? And obviously, they're gonna be, but it gives you priority over everybody else on the platform. So, so when I say prep your listings, it's start working on your search engine results, because that's going to be everything, and then you can get that higher price, because you have that consistent history of sales, and you get that consumer confidence.
So, are you dropping your price to get these sales, or how's that?
Yeah, it just depends. Like sometimes um, I will actually mark my items down to almost making no profit just to get the ball rolling.
Really?
And sometimes even at a loss if needed, just to get the ball rolling to start getting my search listing.
Do you do that period in other, like, say, would you do that in other times of the year if, say, you found a hot product and you found a good quantity of it, 10, 20 of them? Would you do the same thing? Would you kind of sell the first couple at a break even?
Not, not really. Like generally,
Okay.
this is for you
I
could,
guess
but
it
this is
depends on if you put that up there and you weren't getting sales for a couple weeks or whatever, then I
right.
guess you'd be kind of forced to.
It has to be it generally has to be a replenishable, right? So something that you can buy more of, that you can have um, uh, that that history, and if one of the mistakes I made is that when I first started, when I went out of stock, my listing disappeared. There's in your listing when you're there's an option to, and not in the listing itself, but in your eBay page, there's an option to, you know keep your listings open even when you sell out, and then all you do is revise and add your quantity and then resubmit and you're back online. So say for instance I sell 10 Furbies but I go out of stock, well, it's going to show I have zero available. I go and buy 10 more and I add that 10 and revise my listing. My listing's still going to show that I sold 10. So I'm still going to have that history even though I went out of stock.
That's crazy
So
because you lose all that. Say
you
you
lose
you
everything.
don't. God, what do they call that?
I can't remember what that's
It's
called.
hard to find too. I remember
Yeah.
you told me about it, and I did it on the listing that we were talking about earlier that we both sold, uh, because it was, man. I still have. I think I got almost 1,400 more views after I went out of stock on that product.
Yeah.
I still have like 5,600 and something views. And if you guys know eBay, which I'm sure you do, that's a lot of views. For me, that's a lot of views on a product.
Oh yeah,
You know.
absolutely. It's a ton. But I'm gonna screen share real quick and I'll kind of show you one of the hotter items this year is slime. And so this is a slime listing. And when I type in poopsie unicorn surprise, you get a sponsored listing, so someone's paying for that placement. But your first listing that you get is one that has consistent solds on it. So
Ah.
and it says, and he says only one left, and that's a trick too. If you're on top of your stuff, you can keep just one in stock at all times, and it'll have this only one left on there to create like a sense of urgency.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but like I was saying before, if you go to here where it says 6 sold, you can click on that and you can get all the details on the item, what it sold for. And these have not, no, they have not left feedback for these. Otherwise it would give you a feedback, whether it be positive or not. But yeah, so you can kind of get an idea of the, the purchase history on this particular seller.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
cool. That's a good tip.
Yep. So it's and I do think that this is going to be big. It's very controversial right now because that's kind of a tough thing to swallow. And one of the things I think is kind of funny is that when I went to eBay Open, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was one of the executive VPs. Um, their big push is to, top rated seller, you have to have free 30-day returns. And someone called out this guy. And most
I
of these,
thought you had to have free return. Oh, free 30
yeah,
day.
free 30.
Oof.
And yeah, I know. So, and this guy who was talking, everybody at eBay has their own eBay store and they sell stuff, right? Even the executives sell stuff.
Really?
And yeah, absolutely. Um, and so
Wow.
one person pointed out that this guy on stage didn't offer free returns. It was like, hey, you don't have 30-day returns. Why are you up there telling us? And so he's like, and so he showed us on the big screen. He's like, okay, I got, I heard you guys loud and clear. And so yeah, he's got 30-day returns on his thing. So, but I do think, getting back to the search engine results, I think that's going to be very popular too. And it's such a odd choice. It's
It
such a difficult choice. Uh,
it aligns with brick and mortar and it aligns with big companies like Amazon and Walmart that make everything so easy and they don't, if you're getting that from most other people, you would kind of expect it from eBay. Believe me, I don't want to offer free returns. I don't offer free returns right now. I do offer 30-day returns on most everything I have because that brings your search results up too. And it used to be the determining factor for top rated seller, but now I think you have to have free returns to be top rated seller. But I do understand it from a consumer's point of view. What I think it is more than a liability like we think of it as, I think on the buyer side of it, it's a guarantee. This person's not going to, quote, screw you over if something's wrong with the item or, something. I think most people are good, for the most part. So I think most people are not trying to get over on you. So offering free 30-day returns is kind of a comfort, for a lot of buyers. It would be a comfort for me if I was buying something, especially something expensive, and heavy,
and really it's gonna be, and I mean, give it 20 years. I mean, it really is now, but like it's really gonna be 100% in like 20 years. Like there will be zero expectation of any type of waiting, like there's, or you know any type of like resistance to customers getting what they want.
I don't.
And
I disagree.
okay, go for it.
Um, I'm a firm believer that everything works on a pendulum. Everything swings one way and then swings back eventually. So I think it will get pushed to the point to where business and commerce, not just e-commerce, which most of it will probably be at that time, I think it will be pushed to a point to where it can't. Like people won't be able to stay in business because of expectations of customers and stuff. Now I could be wrong, and I just know that things swing back the other way. You can look at history and just look at every type of issue there's ever been, and there's been a north and a south pole of it. You know what I'm saying? Like magnetic north and south poles.
Mhm.
It's just there's always a flip side. So I can't see. I can see the quickness. Like would people are gonna want more. What do you?
Just they're gonna. I mean,
They're gonna
they're
want
not
things
gonna do it.
faster, but
They want it now.
I
They
think
want
there's gonna be some pushback eventually. You don't?
Yeah, one of the things that I mean, it's just the way life is right now. I mean, everything's instant. Everything's
Yeah.
instantaneous. Everything. Um, you know, as it relates to business, I just feel like I don't know what that pendulum swing back would be. Um, I mean, it
What about
may.
smaller, more mom and pop type operations? More, because that's what it seems to be is happening now. As you get more mom and pop type brick and mortars, you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I
kind of
mean,
seems like it's swinging that way where they were almost dying off because of Amazon and everything.
I could see that kind of the age of the superstores going away, like the Targets and WalMarts and things like that. And
It's
I think
so overhead intensive.
it's huge. Yeah, absolutely. That's why all these businesses are going out, are just going out of business. Um, but one of the things that really kind of opened my eyes when I was at eBay Open was that, they state by 2020, 40% of all US consumers will be Gen Z. Now, if you don't know what Gen Z is, it's mid 90s to early 2000s. And they've kind of outnumbered the baby boomers as far as total number born within that span. And so these people that are growing up, now they're in their teens, their teen years, they're growing up in an environment where everything is instant, everything. I just went on a cruise for 7 days and about pulled my hair out with the internet service, that I had there, having to wait for things to load. Like I was dying, and like back in the day, that would have been the fastest internet on the planet. So, but
Yeah.
now it's to the point where everything's instant. Just a couple of statistics that'll kind of open your eyes a little bit if you don't already know them.
I
Is that
guarantee I know them.
you
Yeah,
might.
guarantee. Yeah.
Um,
You don't even have to
that,
read them. You can read them for our listeners.
so that Generation Z is between 95 and 2009. They use 10 hours and 20 minutes of tech use. So that's
Per day,
computers. Yeah, per day.
10
Uh,
hours
10 hours and
on an electronic device.
correct. 10 hours and 19 minutes use per day.
Wait,
Five,
so people understand that. How many hours are you awake? 16?
yeah,
Most people?
pretty much. Yeah, it's insane.
10 of
Look
them.
around. Look around you. Look around you.
Yeah.
We threw a
I
baby
mean, we
party.
do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we threw a party for my daughter, who's a 2-year-old, and just phones everywhere,
Yeah.
um, you know, myself included. 5.1 billion searches a day on the internet. This 4 billion YouTube views a day.
Wait, how
Over
many searches?
5.1 billion searches.
And there's how many YouTube?
That's Google
4?
searches, and then 4 billion YouTube
So
views a
basically,
day.
YouTube is another Google.
Essentially, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, if you want to look at it that way.
Absolutely. There's over a billion active Facebook users within this date range, and then over 500 million tweets a day. So,
Hmm.
so I mean, it's really interesting how involved and how like just integrated they are into this mode of thinking to where everything is instant. Everything. If I want to know something, I know it right now. If I want to buy something, I want it right now. Now, the cool thing about what you said was, talking about that mom and pop, these specialty shops. I mean, I think that's a good point. I think that's the future. They get the people that they can't
I
get
think
that
it's
stuff.
part of the future. I don't
Yeah.
think it's the whole future because I don't think the e-commerce is going away at
No, not
all.
a, yeah, no, you're right. It's part of the future. Um, So it's just kind of the way it's going. And so, going back to the free returns thing, gosh, having no returns is tough nowadays. I mean, you go to any retailer and you can return anything. I could take this Coke, walk into a Target, and demand money for it.
Yeah,
Saying I bought it out of a 12 pack, and they have the expectation that that customer needs to leave that store happy,
yeah,
and that's what it is, because they know that if I bought this Coke off Amazon, I can put it right back in a box and send it back, and there are zero questions asked. No questions asked.
yeah,
If you buy something off Amazon, you answer it. There's like a 6 little buttons that you can click on why you're returning it. Throw it in a box, print your label, ship it out. You're done. No questions. It doesn't
yeah,
matter what it is. Now, going back to that one part where you're talking about most people are good. That is true. You will get Eventually you will get burned by somebody
mm.
who is going to take advantage of it. It happens. Think about Amazon, think about retailers, how many fraudulent returns and all kinds of stuff. It's just part of the
You
game.
have
It
to just factor
sucks.
it into your cost of selling. I mean, it
Yeah, it sucks, but
yeah.
it's just a fact of life. It's just a fact of
Just
life.
like you would
So,
have theft in a brick and mortar.
yep,
People are going to do it.
yep, absolutely. So there's loss. It's not all gains in business. There's loss too. So
Nuh-uh. Everybody makes business is like a cash tree, bro. You
that's
can
what
literally go pull dollars off of this tree every day,
that
whenever
and
you want a bunch of
you
them.
see that quite a bit, on Facebook boards. They get so mad about a $20-$30 return. That's like
Or
it's
no, no, no. The best to me, and gosh, I hope this person's not listening. But somebody was complaining about an $8 return the other day. I was like, I would refund that and never look. I would refund it with a smile and be like, hey, we appreciate your business. If anything else, that we can do for you comes up, let us know. You know,
there's
that's
nothing
a
you can do about it.
no. Well, you can get bad feedback. You can get a bad review if you're on Amazon. There's things that can't be done. You need to
Mhm.
salvage those and let your pride, get out of your own way. Get out of the way of your pride.
Yep,
I kind of went on a
absolutely.
rant there.
A little bit of a rant.
That's
Yep.
what I
What do you
do.
drink? What are you drinking?
It's just water
Oh,
out of a
mhm.
out of a Bucky's cup. If you
Yeah.
guys
If
don't
you
know about Bucky's,
you need to
holy
know.
shit! This Texas exclusive chain. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think they're anywhere else.
Yeah, North Texas, Central Texas.
All over Texas.
Are they in West Texas?
Yep, they're all over.
So Bucky's is a truck stop that has like 75 fuel pumps. So basically, if you can imagine a gas station with that many fuel pumps, how long that fuel pump section would have to be, the store is just as long.
Yeah,
So
it's about the length of a football field.
yeah, at least yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
that's
like
just the regular cars. They also have truck
yeah,
fueling
yeah.
stations too.
And in Houston, I think it's in Houston, it might be Baytown. They have the world's longest car wash, which is Google it. It's awesome. But yeah, Bucky's is a shit. But yeah, so that we got a little sidetracked there. But yeah, if you don't know what Bucky's is, come to Texas. You can't drive by it. It's pretty intense.
You can't drive by it for more than one reason. They advertise it like 150 miles before you get there.
That's true. They will have even more than that sometimes. They'll have an advertisement.
A
Bucky's in
billboard.
two yeah billboard. Bucky's in 250 miles,
Yeah,
and then every 50 miles after that, it'll
yeah.
give you another reminder. And then at that point, you're just like, well, I don't have a choice.
I
I'm just
can't
gonna
imagine
go.
how much money they make.
Oh, dude. You're a reseller when everywhere you go, you think about what kind of money you can make. And I want to use this as an example. We're in Cozumel, and there's duty free shops everywhere, right? And so you get off the ship, and you do your shopping, and most of the shopping is just trademark infringed logo stuff everywhere. And I go to the alcohol shop because I want to get my favorite type of rum, which is Appleton rum. If you haven't tried it, try it. It's awesome.
You got
Um,
some. You
Yeah.
son
So
of a bitch.
there's a whole other story to that. So, anyways, so I buy it, right? And I'm looking right next to the cash register is those Kinder eggs, right? The little Kinder, like
Mm-hmm.
little, you see them everywhere. And I remember back in the day, last year, they were pretty popular.
Mm-hmm.
I never got into it, but I'm looking at this package, and it's a package of 5 Kinder eggs, and it was like something that had like it was like Airbus 380 special or something. So it was like a travel, like special edition Kinder. And I'm
Mm.
looking at that and I'm like, dude, I bet that might be worth some money. So I'm like trying to get my app to work and it ends up not working. And the whole thing was like 17 bucks. Um, and so I end up not buying it. But when I get back to
Why
the
would you
US,
not buy it? I see where this is going.
I thought so. I get back to land and I'm like, I'm looking them up and I look at the price history of 40, 50, $60 and no one's in stock right now. And no one has been in stock for months on these things. And I'm just like, son of a bitch. Like I should have just said, you know what? I'm just gonna try it. And if it doesn't sell, I'll just freaking eat it. You know, but no. So anyways, so yeah, I mean everything I
See,
look.
if you had had a couple more years experience, you probably would have bought them. You know, that's just
Yeah,
experience. I
if
mean, you get to. Well, it's just like selling books or anything. You know, after a while, you get better at being able to kind of eyeball stuff. You know, if you go to a garage sale and there's a leather jacket and you feel it and you go, oh, that feels like quality. Like, you know, you should probably buy that. You might not know what it's going to sell for, but you know, if this person's selling it for $10, you're like, whoa, no brainer.
yep, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'm going to need you to go back to Cozumel and buy a pallet of those and I'll split it with you.
Yeah,
Two
so
pallets.
I'm a screen share real quick. I'll show you what it is.
You're going to make yourself cry.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it was these, and it was like the coolest.
Never seen or heard of that.
It was so random. That it was there. It was so weird. Airbus. Why is this doing? What is this doing in a duty free shop in Cozumel, Mexico? It's like I don't know. It was weird. It didn't make any sense, but it made so much. It didn't make sense by so much that I was like, it's got to be worth money.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it, but
For $17. Had it been a couple bucks, you probably would have bought some,
oh,
huh?
I would have bought all of them. I would have bought
Yeah.
all of them
Is there a limit to
just
bring
because they're
anything
cool.
back?
No, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm really pissed. Um, so I'm coming back and I've got my Appleton and it was cheap. It was like 20 bucks. I'm like, all right. I walk back to the cruise ship and they tag it and they put it in a black bag and they put it in a box behind a table. I had to like check my alcohol in and like, well, you can pick it up when you disembark. Like I had to leave my alcohol with them when I fully intended to drink it when I got up to my room.
You should have known that. Well, you
No,
bought it on the
no.
trip, so I guess, yeah.
I thought I could take it back to my room. So, anyways, long story short, just beware. And because when the getting off a cruise ship is a cluster F, and it was so crazy that
We're on the internet. You can say whatever you want.
I forgot to pick my alcohol up on my way out, and so it's still on the ship.
I kind of had a feeling you were going to say that. So,
And
does it not
so
have your name on it or anything?
it does, and they don't care. Where do you think they get the damn alcohol for their bars?
Should
Telling
no,
you,
no, no,
I'm
no.
telling you,
Dude, I
yes.
bet you could write. They might send you some kind of voucher because that's
Nope, nope.
really.
On the sheet that they gave me, on the rules that I did not follow, because I didn't know I had to go to like this special room to pick up my alcohol on the last day. It said that whatever whatever is left on board after you disembark will be um,
Property of Carnival or whatever.
no, it would have been discarded, is what said. I was like, that's
Yeah.
bullshit. It's going to end up behind their
So
bar.
what'd you buy?
Appleton, it was a 13-year.
13
That,
years. So that's the middle one, I think.
that rare. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's actually what I was drinking here in I got some was that some orange soda. I don't remember what kind it was. And Appleton rum.
Why do you have orange soda and rum? Is that
Oh
good?
my gosh. Okay, so the Appleton, which is just regular Caribbean rum or Jamaican rum, is not what I prefer with it. I prefer orange soda and Captain Morgan because it's a spiced rum. Oh, if you like Captain Morgan and Coke, you will love Captain Morgan and orange soda.
And where did you find that out?
My old boss at my old job. We went. We used to have to go to conferences, and so we get like a 2 liter, a couple 2 liters, and a fifth or whatever to have for the week. In our room at night before we went out or whatever. Have a drink. And he's like, "You gotta try this." I was like, "Okay," and I tried it, and it's amazing. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to try it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That tip is free.
Yes. Yes.
Unlike our webinars tomorrow at 7:30 and 8:30.
$5,000 an hour.
That's the second one, but it's 3 payments.
3 payments.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy payments.
3 payments to get into the room. Then it's $5,000 an hour.
Well,
I mean, it's a write-off. It's a tax write-off.
yeah.
So
Don't be a bitch.
it's like free money.
I mean, what you think we're doing this for free? Shit. I've got nothing else, man. I don't think.
Well, it was a good episode, I think. We kind of went off the rails in the middle, but
Well, we usually do that, and I think if somebody's listening to this at work, which I hope they are, I hope we help somebody's day go by a little bit quicker. Then a little bit of break in the monotony of just hearing great information after great information. You got to break that up a little bit with some dumbness.
some tips on how to drink some alcohol.
Yeah, and how to leave your alcohol on a cruise ship.
Yeah, I'm never doing that again.
That was a step-by-step process, basically, that you gave.
But I learned. So, yeah.
So, in U.S. dollars, that bottle would probably be worth about $45.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, 45, $50.
Absolutely. And I had pesos. Oh, my gosh. One last story. So we get off at this excursion, right? And we didn't bring cash. We're stupid. And so we're like, okay, we got to go to an ATM because all these people want cash. I wanted to drink some tequila. It was, I need cash. So I go to Chase. Well, it's not Chase, but I go to an ATM and I put my Chase card in there and I hit, okay, withdraw. And it's in fucking pesos. And it says 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And I'm like, I didn't even look behind me. There was an exchange rate calculator, but I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, how much is a damn peso? Like, I have no freaking clue. So I said, okay, 1,000. That's probably not. I said, okay, 3,000. So I hit 3,000 and it spit out like a stack of bills. And I went over to the lady at the counter. I said, hey, how much is 3,000 pesos? And she says, oh my God. And I'm like, oh fuck, what have I done? Like, how much money did I just pull out of my account, right? Because I didn't know in dollars. I had no fucking clue. And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, oh shit. And my wife's like, oh my God, how much did you pull out? And she's like, let me get my calculator. And she's calculating $150. I'm like, okay, all right, we're cool.
I was thinking like that many pesos can't be that much U.S. dollar, but
it's not. But I mean, I have
$150 in,
yeah, I have no clue. It went far, but yeah, I had no clue. It kind of
So what'd you buy? Like, what would a Coke cost in pesos or in dollars? I guess
I'll tell you what a beer would cost. Okay. They were charging 67 pesos for a beer. 150 pesos for like a daiquiri drink. And that's about all I got for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to do a little conversion there because I don't.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Oh, good grief,
man!
We can't fail these viewers. They're gonna be like, what? We listened to this stupid ass story for no reason.
All right. 67 pesos is $3.51, which is about not a bad price. I mean,
786 is 150. So a margarita, you said 786. That's actually that's regular U.S. prices.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
No, that is bad. You don't really get
786. 786 for a margarita. I mean, these are fresh squeezed margaritas. Like there was like it was.
What did it cost them? It probably cost him like
Oh, probably nothing. Probably
4 pesos to make.
But I'm not going to complain about a $7
No, well,
or
and especially on a cruise ship
right. But listen,
excursion.
this is how they made them, right? They had a huge cart full of grapefruit and full of local oranges. These oranges were green, but they were local oranges. I don't know anything about it more than that. They had a big juicer. They had a big old bottle of some kind of margarita mix, ice, and tequila. And they put the ice in the cup, and they poured tequila till you told them to tell them to stop. And so they
That
just
can be
pour,
dangerous.
and you tell them to stop. They cut a grapefruit, they squeeze it, juice right into the cup. They cut up an orange, squeeze it right into the cup, and then you get probably that much of that margarita mix. They mix it up, and it's like the best fucking margarita I've ever had in my life. I'll pay $7.86 for that margarita any day.
I'm sorry, I
Especially when,
wasn't listening. Dude, can you
especially,
repeat that story? What?
especially if what's your problem? Especially if you can determine how much alcohol goes in that thing.
Yeah, that's a good price for that. I'll admit it on that.
You know, one day when we're like super famous because of this podcast, they're gonna be like, Aaron's the asshole of the two, and Jeff's like, he's the one that's like,
The
he's
mean
like,
girl.
you're the mean girl, not me. I'm not a mean girl,
You're a troll like a motherfucker.
but I'm not a mean girl. I'm not. I wouldn't like. Okay, so what do we know about mean girls?
I don't know
You should
anything.
you should get your wife in here. She'll know all about it.
She's got a mean girl bath
Bath mat,
mat.
which is my favorite mat in the world. I love taking showers at your house because when I walk out of that shower, I look down and it says, "You're like really pretty," and it's like, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I am, I am."
You needed to hear it every time you see it.
And it's like, I got this, I
Yeah.
got this. So yeah. So but anyway, so mean girls, but they're mean, they're clicky mean. Like there's like me and you being mean to someone else. Like
Yeah.
you can't say I'm a mean girl. I'm a
I was just trying to
troll.
make a joke. You took it way too far.
No,
You
yeah,
way psychoanalyzed this whole thing.
but you got to use the right reference, and that was not the
I
right.
apologize. So, you also are an asshole. But
That
somehow you get away with it.
that's what I'm saying. See, the listeners aren't that when we're judged. In the end, it's going to be you're the asshole and I'm the nice guy. Now that may not be true in real life,
Okay, okay. I'll take that. I'll
but
take that.
you will come off. I'm telling you, and that's like sports stars. You see these sports stars on TV, and you're like, man, I bet that dude's pretty cool. Like Bill Cosby back in the day. Bill Cosby seems like a really cool dude, but if you know the guy,
I'm going to
maybe
cut
not.
this clip up and make you love Bill Cosby, buddy.
I love Bill Cosby. He's the best. No, but you think of these people. Oh, they're great. They're on TV. They're awesome. And it's like, no, not in
You
real
hear a
life.
lot of them are assholes.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm consistent. I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not.
that's true.
I'm going to be an asshole to you.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true. So yeah, that's all I got. I got work to do. It's
yeah.
10. It's 10:30 p.m. and I still have work to do.
West Coast time. Central Standard.
Central Standard.
Um,
You also may be considered the dumb one for comments like that and not knowing the peso exchange rate.
yeah. Yeah.
And they also, if they ever talk to your wife, she would agree. And my wife would agree that I was the dumb one.
That I would agree on. That I would agree on.
Okay.
Do you want to just sit here for a long time and make people listen to awkward silence? Jeff didn't know what ASMR was. I showed it to him right before the show. I think
Google
it freaked him out a little bit.
YouTube ASMR.
There was one. It was the. Was it the first one that came up when you Googled it?
So when
It
you
was that girl. But that's the
Yeah.
one you need to listen to. This lady, she has 2 microphones and she's doing her hands. She's like touching the mic. touching the
Yeah,
microphone.
it's very rhythmic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do it.
I can't believe you hadn't heard of it. Anyway,
Mm.
I'm done talking to you. I don't want to talk to you anymore. So,
Sounds good to me.
okay. We will do this another time, maybe. Goodbye.
Goodbye.